normal. Okay, the webinar is recording, so you can see that you have to give permission for recording. Okay, just a second. So there are some people waiting in waiting room, so I have to admit them. Okay. So let me give you just few information about training and education in social innovation project. Sorry for those who are listening this for third time, but we have to inform everyone about the background and the whole initiative. Webinars are part of this whole project, but we have some other activities as well and goals. So this project is financed by Interreg ADRION, so we are covering Adriatic and Ionian region. We have this project is led by University of Bologna, and we have additional 6 partners: Hellenic Open University from Greece, University EU of Venice, Italy, University of Belgrade, specifically Faculty of Philosophy, Departments of Sociology from Serbia, University of Tirana from Albania, University of Zagreb from Croatia, and Institute for Social Studies from Koper, Slovenia. And we have some associated partners, meaning NGOs and organizations dealing with social innovation and similar issues, and even one ministry from Slovenia. Main objective, we have 2 main objectives in our project. First is to raise competencies and skills in social innovation in our region, so ADRION region. And these webinars basically are developed to achieve this particular objective. And second objective of this project is to establish a network of universities and research centers to define and implement joint master program on social innovation. So the final product of our project is going to be a joint master program on social innovation. This program will be oriented toward students, let's say normal students, but also or mainly toward practitioners. So people who are already dealing with social innovations in NGOs and other type of institutions, public bodies, etc. In order who are looking for some knowledge and expertise needed to design innovative projects which are dealing with social problems and trying to solve some social problems. Regarding outputs, we are going to, of course, develop the program or structure of this joint master program. We have to think about different activities and administrative issues, and also the output of this project is innovative transnational network, meaning network of different organizations and actors from Adriatic Ionian region dealing with social innovations. We are still developing our master program, but this master program for sure is going to be joint degree. At least 2 institutions will, in 2 different countries, will accredit this program, but everyone will participate in its implementation. So it will include mobility of professors, but let's say main strategy, main idea of our program is going to be learning by doing. So we are going to have a little bit of theoretical background, but a lot of let's say practical skills and techniques, but also some hand-on experience with social innovations through internships, study visits, and other types of learning by doing. Of course, concept of social innovation is, I'm sure, is very well known in this group. It's quite broad concept. Still, we are trying to develop our own definition of social innovation, which is going to be, let's say, a little bit more focused than usual definitions, which are relatively broad. But main idea of social innovation is basically that it has to have at least 3 components. First is satisfaction of human needs, mainly unmet needs. Second component is empowerment of marginalized social groups using different tools. And third element is, let's say, kind of a change in social relations, which can produce some new resources or new knowledge necessary to solve social problems and satisfy human needs. I mentioned that webinars are part of our activities. This is 3rd webinar out of 6, so we have 3 more to conduct until the end of June. Here you can see a timetable, so if you are willing to participate, you can write down exact slots and join us in next 3 webinars. If you are looking for more information, you can visit our web page and also follow us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our main, let's say, social network for distribution of information and other issues. So this is my introduction. If you have some questions, you can write us or contact us if you are looking for more information about the project. Now I'll give floor to Jelena. Jelena, maybe you can try to share screen by yourselves in order to have control. But if you will not be able, then I will share the screen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dragan, for inviting and organizing. But I still have to ask you to share if it's possible. I promise I don't have many slides, so it won't be won't be difficult to go through it like this. And thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for introduction and organizing us here today. My name is Jelena. I'm a part of the management board in ACT Group. So we are a Croatian ecosystem builder in social economy sector. But I will try to, if we can start from the next slide, I can try to explain to you today why we are an example of innovation and how do we tackle different challenges in the communities, in our community, and also different cross challenges that were also covered by this project. So I hope that this presentation from today can just open a conversation about all these segments. So for ACT Group, it all began in 2003. So it is 20 years anniversary, big celebration year this year. It began with activism and a lot of punk attitude. People gathered around values they had inside them and around problems their own community faced back then. So small group of young activists rolled up their sleeves and started to take some steps forward. In its humble beginnings, ACT Group organized workshops, team festivals, tried to tackle mindset and different problems faced by their community. Also, they organized secured access to resources for people in Međimurje region, which is a small small border region bordering Slovenia, here in Croatia. So through different activities, examples of good practices which were discovered and distributed through guides, festivals, roundtables, workshops, and so on, were not enough. So our group decided to build ventures. So it was what we all discovered later. It has a name. It is a venture building organization, and it is, from my perspective, very exciting place to work. Because it has a lot to do with innovation in every segment of the innovation process. So that actually gave birth to enterprises, social enterprises, which were actually a kind of response to different challenges and many shortcomings in the Croatian ecosystem back then. So it was like about 15 years ago. and ACT Group started establishing enterprises one by one. Each of them actually tried to resolve at least one and better a few social environmental challenges in Međimurje region. In the meantime, ACT Group was growing, learning from those experiences, establishing, experimenting and running against a brick wall. And with the time, the first Croatian consortium of social enterprises was actually established. But it all actually changed again. And 6 enterprises which were helped established are today independent and successfully working and spreading the word about social entrepreneurship further in Croatia. So it was one big and important period for pioneering, piloting, and testing the concept by not knowing much about the whole concept, but by trying and doing it. At the end of 2019, the social business concern was completely dissolved. So members outgrew their parents, and over time they brought out shares, and it is now the 6 successful stories about 6 social enterprises established as one of the first social enterprises in Croatia back then. Another problem, which was another problem led us in ACT Group acting in a new form. So ACT Group, after being the consortium of social enterprises, actually there to get out to the market, to actually offer the support to other enterprises, to the whole sector, in Croatia and wider, and the support was in establishing, incubating, managing and scaling social businesses, and generally supporting different actors in social economy in Croatia. So what we did, we changed our product while remaining faithful to our purpose. And that is the most important story for the innovation process that I want to tell you today. This is like the moment when we, if I can, Dragan, ask you to go to another slide, please. Yes, that one. For example, we act as a support organization and provide incubation and acceleration program to social businesses, to impact businesses, consultancy services, and so on. This set of activities we consider to be very unique in Croatian market. But target group is also very similar but quite diverse to us. So we have impact startups, we have social service providers, we have social enterprises, we have different non-profits, different corporate and private actors. Why are we innovators? So the whole 20 years of period of development of ACT Group, it was like one big thing two big types of innovation to demonstrate, from the radical innovation where the whole organization changed, because what isn't changed, as we said, are our values, but what is quite changed is our main product. As we know, every organization has its own product. It's both product and service, but it is called product, and our whole product is completely changed from back then to now. So it's a radical innovation. Our core program changed, and what is really typical for this kind of innovation, that we cannot predict much what will happen after, if the program will be a success or if it will have some another outcome at the end. What is another type of innovation is what actually is part of our daily job, and it's incremental innovation, and it helps us to adjust our program, our main product, to specific needs of our program participants, to adjust the demand from the market, and so on. It is if we want to present ourselves as the organization that has its values, its focus, and our focus is to provide very up-to-date, very helpful, very targeted support programs to our beneficiaries. I told you about our beneficiaries, and that group, as being diverse, has very different challenges and very different needs that we want to address through different programs. So human resources, skills, know-how, and experience in business development, together with a lot of enthusiasm for building social and impact economy ecosystem, are the most important resources that we use on a daily basis in our innovative programs. Every program has a different focus, and it changes from iteration to another iteration. We change a lot of elements actually. It has specific mentors depending on the industry, depending on the change that we are introducing each year in each program. But the fact is that the main elements of the program are the same. So that's why we call it incremental innovation, and it helps us by naming it. It helps us understand more how and when and where we make those changes. I am actually MBA student, and it is very demanding program, but also very good program, I would say. And we focus a lot on innovation, and it also helps me understand more. But recently, one subject showed me, and what I thought I know before, but actually it confirmed that being an innovator and enabling and creating innovative products in our organization isn't something that just happens to you because you have a lot of ideas. It's a lot of hard work. There are already a lot of tools available on the market, and it actually has more structure than it seemed to me before. So on another slide, as I told you, we have support programs as our main products. 6 of them are active at the moment, but I wanted to present today briefly the youngest one. So Center for Social Innovation is a bit different from the others because it doesn't have like specific target group coming from more market economy or more non-profit economy. This is one support program that we have that's dedicated to social service providers, no matter which form or type they have. CSI also offers mentoring for the development of innovative services, support for innovators. It is practically an incubator where you can come, and if you are a social service provider or you are connected with a problem that concerns some of the groups suffering from social exclusion and so on. So you can come with a problem and actually benefit from the incubation process, where you can put that problem on the actually on the business model canvas, or you can come with a great vision and ideas, so we can help gather around other participants, and we can actually try to work together to make something that's called systematic change. And it takes a lot of time and effort and energy, but it is something that Center for Social Innovation wants to promote. So when you translate social in Croatian, you will get the word društveno, but this one, when we translate, we keep it social to keep it connected more with the social services. So how it actually works? It is very needs-driven program here in Croatia. So what we noticed is that social services are suffering numerous problems. For example, in Croatia, they are not sufficiently developed nor innovative. Associations, other forms offering social services do not have means or tools to reach all the beneficiaries in need. That is a very common complaint that we get from social service providers. Also, the knowledge of the public and other local entities about this topic is not at satisfactory level. Most of us does not know how much and what we need and who is actually responsible to provide that and how it should look like. Until we reach the moment when we actually need it. Organizations that provide social services are unfortunately often not aware of the potential and opportunities they have for growth and scaling, especially putting in the we actually work on organizational development of empowering the people leading those organizations, both streams, in order to actually incubate some innovation, to develop it, and to contribute to the whole non-institutional social care sector and its level of development in Croatia. So we understood what the problem is, roots of the problem, because we established one of the social service providers. So we went through the whole process and saw how it looks like from very inside. And that's how this program was. Actually designed, and that's why we are addressing this very niche. And it is also one of the Interreg products. So I'm happy to work on one which is live after the project finished, which is actually connected, getting more activities, getting more customers, clients, beneficiaries after the project ends. So this is the youngest, and I'm also very proud of this program for now. So Center for Social Innovation is our example, how we used innovation, how we incremental innovation to change what we do best, what we try to do best, to target another group, to change whatever needs to be changed. So we had already 2 iterations, each had its changes. So we want always to make some improvements to help to support our beneficiaries in better way. So to try to illustrate, to get you a picture how we work in the Center for Social Innovation, I have 3 examples coming from this. So I'm sorry that the pictures are in Croatian, but I will just explain, because these photos are just for these purposes here. And the first one would be Center for Elderly Home Care, which is a very good organization covering the whole region with care for elderly and disabled persons in their homes, which is a very standardized service, absolutely in refinancing system, which would make someone say, okay, they have funds. And I would say the organization was very developed in comparison with the benchmark, you know, not to name other elements for the moment. But they had enormous problems. They had internal problems. They had problems. They couldn't reach all the beneficiaries, but they're regional organizations, so they should reach all the beneficiaries. They were struggling with labor, as everyone in Croatia nowadays, and many other problems connected with it. So what they wanted to change was internal change, which was like the basis for being more stable impact organization, so they would be able to innovate further and make new product, services, and so on after. So what we did in this with this organization was to change their business model, was to change their way how they operate, was to change their way how they provide their services, how they employ people, how they address problems. And it was around 4 to 6 months period in I would say something that's called business development in social services. We want, why this example is really important, because we won't get many in the Croatian ecosystem nowadays. So that's why it's very important. Another example that I wanted to share with you, what's happening in Center for Social Innovation, is the Association UNO. They work with empowering young people with disabilities, explaining them that they should that there is a place for work for them, and empowering employers to create space, job posts that could include people with disabilities, and to support their social inclusion. And how they're doing it, they created this brand, Cupid's Spoon, which was a national Croatian contest of people with disabilities in cooking and bartending. So you have like the whole hospitality industry in one touristic country, and you have really big number of people with disabilities seeking for work and not getting a chance. So this association created Cupid's Spoon as a Croatian project, and nowadays it's EU project. So there is a big track going through one European capital to another to cover all 28 of them, and they will have a contest. So people with disabilities will participate in different gastro contests, and people with hospitality industry will support them and learn how to create a working space for them. So this is one of the products also created in Center for Social Innovation, and it's already out. I think they have already covered half of the countries, for sure, half of the countries. 14 was already there as I checked last week. I have to say, so every week is another EU capital that's covered by Cupid Spoon. It's also a campaign, but it's direct work with both beneficiaries and those people who can create working space for them. The third example that I want to present today, it is the association, also regional association with for people with for blind and highly visually impaired people, and they had one problem in the society, which is they have a very big number of members, and members were people with disabilities and the need for different services. And one of the most pressing issues they faced is lack of course, opportunities to work. So this association, as a result of incubation process that we supported in Center for Social Innovation, opened the massage salon, because blind people and highly visually impaired people are actually very good with tactile capabilities, so they can give a lot in this kind of a working space. And it is really a great example how we can find the business model that can work for different needs, not only to serve beneficiaries, but to include them to serve their colleagues and beneficiaries and wider community in the city they are established. So our support was to co-create with them their business model, to follow them on the path of market positioning, and to also through, as I mentioned, we provide mentoring to support them nowadays also. So what's the one innovation that we also change is that people just don't go through the programs. People stay in alumni community, and in that alumni community, some of them even go to be mentors, some of them even go to another programs, but there is a lot of good energy and innovations coming from the fact that there is a platform that enables people, innovators, and all those who went through some process and program to co-create something again and together. So that was about examples. I would be really happy to get any if there are some questions about what we do in Center for Social Innovation and in ACT Group, of course, also. One last slide that I wanted to share with you today is that we, since we wanted to explain that we need to be really responsible to ourselves, to our beneficiaries, but also to our sponsors, donors, and other actors in the stakeholder in the ecosystem, we actually need to measure what we do, and how we do it. It is by impact management and measurement, and we in ACT Group do it on two levels. So we have one external instrument how we do it. So for everyone who have ever been in our longer term program, so just not one workshop or one meeting, but in longer term support or program, they're part of the measurement, and internally, as we want to be innovative in terms to be example for our other colleagues and community, we measure effects the organization has on our employees. Not to be as I think I used my time, so I just put link here where everyone who is interested can visit and see, for example, the latest internal report we produced, and maybe get more insights about the evaluation that we have. So thank you. This would be all from me for this moment. I hope I gave you some inputs about what we see and how we do, how we innovate in our group, and what we are actually trying to achieve with that problem-led, problem-solving process. I'm looking forward to some questions and to continue discussion.
Thank you, Elena. I hope everything was clear to everyone, and everything was technically okay. Okay, now if you have any question, you need any clarification, you can raise your hand. You can use features of Zoom to raise your hand. So if you have a quick question, you need clarification, you can ask it now, and then we will start with let's say more structured discussion. Any needs for clarifications? No. Okay, super. Then we can go on. I would like to ask colleague Ranko Milic to unmute his mic and join us, maybe with camera as well. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Ranko is one of the Croatian activists regarding developing ecosystems relating to education, but some other fields, and social innovation enthusiast, I could say. So I would like to ask Ranko to give his comments on ACT Group and Social Innovation Center activities, but also to broader maybe discussion on importance of ecosystems in field of social innovations and social entrepreneurships in general. You should unmute, please. We cannot hear you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I just apologize because I'm not in the office, so maybe you will have some noise, but I hope it will be okay. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to participate in this event. I'm really grateful for that. I'm also happy to try to contribute to this topic because it's something that, as you already said, is part of my passion for a long time. Actually, I even didn't know that this is called social innovation. I'm starting to do some projects in the sector, and I was very honored and happy to witness the whole process of development of the ACT Group, almost from the very beginning, maybe from 2010, 2009, 2010, we were in communication and cooperation, maybe even a little bit before, but actually I have really very relatively good insight on the journey, which is really very intriguing in many senses, and I think it can be relevant not just for Croatia, and I would dare to say not just for Croatia, Europe, maybe beyond these regional aspects, because there are several levels of innovation. I would maybe say 3 levels of innovation that happen, and social innovation that happen in their case, which can be very interesting to study even deeper, even in the scientific way, because what happened there, it actually was what they already presented. Actually, they had a need, they had their own group, beneficiary group need, focused on, I would say, subcultural group of young people who have very specific needs, who cannot be satisfied, and that's very interesting situation that actually this group didn't just actually complain about this situation, or maybe go to some kind of rebellion activities, but decided to take another part, a different part of self-organizing and finding solution for their own needs, using their own resources and efforts. So this kind of self-organization and turning their interest into something that as such has already created some value for the local community is one level of innovation, social innovation, which is, I think, very relevant in today's age, where actually many young people somehow feel lost in the challenges of the modern life. And this way of how they approach this problem is rather the small communities of imaginary county really can be modeled as one specific way how young key people can maybe resolve some of their needs in the very demanding period of time we are living in. The second level of innovation which happened with them, actually, they didn't stop at that point. They didn't just start to self-organize and organize their activities to satisfy their own needs. They very soon realized that there are other marginalized groups, similar or maybe not, or completely different marginalized groups. They have specific needs which are not satisfied, and they embedded their needs into their own agenda, almost from the very beginning. So that's very interesting how they went from let's satisfy our needs, being proactive, being entrepreneurial. Let's actually involve other human beings who have specific needs, and let's create synergy around that. Let's create movement around that. And this was really another level of social innovation where young people not just prove that they can solve their solutions, but they can do solutions for the wider community and even for the most demanding problems of the community, like not just social but economic inclusion of the marginalized groups. And this level of innovation was really successful in many ways. I think there are examples are now becoming recognized at the European level, awarded multiple times. So they really showcase that Croatia has young people, but not in Croatia. I think every country has this kind of young people who can do this similar things. But this was Croatian example of such case where actually young people were organizing themselves, helping themselves, but then also helping others solve some of the most difficult social problems. And then at the final stage of social innovation, what they've done is actually to realize that there are many similar places and people and organizations and even businesses who, when they're actually already have experienced some part of exploration, they realize that their experience, their knowledge can be shared, can be multiplied, replicated, scaled, and they start to build ecosystems. This is really fantastic example of how these young people not just show the way how they can help their communities, but how they can help not just national communities like Croatia, but also European communities and global communities by being proactive, being entrepreneurial, being innovative, innovating themselves, innovating their social, economic, and I would say even environmental ecosystems. Actually, this is really fantastic example of what can be done if there is a group of persistent people, well organized, well connected, ready to learn, trying to find always the better ways how to do things. So actually, I think that we can learn a lot from their experience. I could also commend some other social innovations. Croatia, I was doing a lot of projects in different social innovation sectors. You already mentioned education, but actually because I was always doing projects that combine multiple sectors. I think that what is connected with this innovation and the group education system should be really innovative. And I think social innovation can be really, and what you are doing with this project is really great because you are actually trying to reform or actually upgrade high school programs with the specific topic of social innovation, but you can also innovate your high school program using some of the innovations that can involve methodological innovations. They can involve also content and also I would say actually the whole approach to education sector, using the social innovation as a tool to change themselves, not just students.
Ranko, you're muted. We don't hear you anymore. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know what happened, because I didn't touch anything, but something happened. Sorry. Thanks, Jelena. I don't know what was the last thing what you heard from me. Is it few sentences or more?
I think 2 sentences.
Okay. So actually, I just wanted to say that this project should, I think, in my opinion, should also try to learn from this experience, like a group, but also some other social innovations where actually young people and professors together with local communities can create social innovations. Actually, the best way to teach social innovation is to do social innovation. We have done similar projects involving students from different universities to work on social innovations involving different sectors. It was really very, very inspiring. It was one of the most inspiring periods of my life, working with young people on social innovations and involving other generations, even elementary school, kindergartens, elderly people, third age people in the projects. So project-based learning and community service learning in cooperation with the civil society, with local governments, with the local businesses, can really create fantastic environment for learning, but also for doing. And as I said, learning by doing is the best way to learn new skills and new concepts. So I would really finish this short, hopefully short comment with a message. Use this project as a test bed to develop curricula that really can involve different sectors and different methodologies, how to promote social innovation, not just as a concept, but as a really practical tool that can help students to integrate in the world of work, but also to be leaders of change in the world of work. And that's something that I would actually be very happy to help you with if you have interest in this kind of ways, how you can maybe design this kind of project, this kind of program, high school program. Please feel free to involve me in the next follow-up activities. But anyhow, I would really like to see more of this kind of examples, like our group and like this project, to be turned into the standards and models that can be easily replicated elsewhere, because today's world needs social innovation. I would just add to this word, today's world needs eco-social or eco-social economic innovation. I prefer this triple dimension wording, eco-social economic innovation, because we need new economic models, not just social innovation. We need new economic models, more equitable, more fair business models, new models of ownership, new models of solution of different economic and environmental problems. So I would really like to encourage you to continue, but also to continue with very concrete solutions that you can offer to your stakeholders after this project. So thank you once again, and as I said, I'm really grateful to be part of this conference, and I'm also open to all questions and comments.
Thank you very much, Ranko. We will keep you informed about and everyone else as well about our activities and the final structure of our program. And as I said in the introductory presentation, one of the objectives is to establish a network of actors within Adriatic Union region dealing with social innovations from different perspectives, from universities and academic, NGOs, social enterprises, public bodies, all different sectors dealing with social innovations in some way. So to have a network of actors in order to enable exchange of knowledge, experience, etc., and to build the base for let's say this practical aspect of our future joint master program. Okay, this is what we organized, as, let's say, as introduction for the rest of this discussion. Now I would like to call everyone who would like to give contribution, to comment, give his or her thoughts about social innovations related to labor market, inclusion into labor market of different groups, or in general restructuring the relations on labor market, social entrepreneurships, and similar topics. You can raise your hand. I don't see hands. Okay, we have one hand. Miodrag, you can unmute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's good to see. I can also open the video. Thank you for the presentation and introduction, and for Ranko's contribution. I'm glad to see Jelena and to learn more about ACT Group. I'm coming from the coalition for, on behalf of Coalition for Solidarity Economy Development in Serbia. So basically we are on the same topic of social entrepreneurship development. And that's the niche where we see social innovation as quite important. And in that sense, ACT Group is quite unique. I mean, and I will use the opportunity because Jelena knows very well the ecosystem in Serbia and the region, in the region. So I have several questions related to that. So basically, do you think that there is any similar organization like what ACT did, and how it developed, how it used innovation to change itself and to, as you said, incremental the impact, and to add things to what they did and to different beneficiaries? Also, you only not used innovation to change your organization, but you actually used or provided services for others to innovate as well, which is, I think, one of the most important things. How should we actually promote social innovation? Usually innovators are quite unique, and it's very hard to follow their path. But when you have a Center for Social Innovation, for instance, then actually you're supporting innovation with other organizations. So in that sense, how do you, is it easy, or I'm sure it's quite hard, but to replicate and to instigate innovation among other actors, other social enterprises or other organizations? So how do you do that, and how is can some of this methodology be transferred to some other similar organization, if there is any similar in the region and in the Serbian context? I'm sure ACT is really quite unique, but how should we maybe promote these innovations, and how can we replicate some of these models that you already used? Is there a way how to do it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the question. It's really nice to see you after a few years now. So thanks for the question. I think that it's not that difficult to have a program supporting innovation. I was lucky to be in one really good place to learn more about it. So a few universities in Europe have a specialized center for incubation innovation, and that goes really good with what we are all saying today, that cross-sectorial cooperation is crucial for incubating and boosting innovative practices, because we are one important point of a learning curve at the moment. So we really need to learn from each other. And I was lucky to be in one really good program. So where would help me to establish, to design this program. And it is scary. That's the difficult point. It is really scary in one moment when you're kicking it off and going into the blue, really. But you learn by doing, just accept that mindset, and we're all pioneers in what we do. So I think it's possible with a wide network of collaborators, as Ranko said. All know each other, we all learn from each other, and we just need a little bit of a structure. And now I mentioned I study management in focused on innovation. So for example, there are a lot of structured ways to start the process, and there are also a lot of examples from the really lucrative business world that we can use in non-profit, in impact business, in social economy, that we can actually learn from let's say expensive programs for innovation incubation. So I think it's not that difficult, and it's much more structured. That's my experience than we all think. That innovators they're just creative and go, and just great ideas come to their mind. So it is a process, and we can all learn it. And a little bit learn by doing it. So risk and make mistakes, but we can all do it. And I don't know, you would probably predict what I would say about there is a similar organization. I think there are similar organizations everywhere, but somehow we are all different at the end. But I think that our group has a lot of similarities with the organizations. Serbia. I see similarity with each one of 4 organizations established coalition. So there are elements. I see elements of all 4. So I don't know, maybe we can be the most similar with the coalition. I don't know where this is going. I don't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to say, yes, you're probably right. But these are 4 different organizations, and ACT is one basically group. Okay, but so yeah, I understand. But it's the ACT is unique in that sense. But thank you.
Thank you for the compliments. When it comes from you, it means a lot.
Thank you. Now we have Jasmina Božić. Jasmina, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. I would just like to ask a question both to Jelena Anđelić, but also to Ranko Milić, in case some of you are willing, to discuss this very concrete. Are there some innovative ways of democratizing social entrepreneurship projects in terms of interacting with the employees and asking them about business decisions? So 5 years ago, when the book Punk Entrepreneurs was published, written by Robert Poswitz about ACT Group, he emphasized the problem of how to actually democratize the going and what takes place and which decisions are taken within the social entrepreneurship projects of the ACT groups. And I wonder if within these 5 years, some moves have been done in that direction towards making some things a bit, let's say, partly democratic in social entrepreneurship projects within the group. So if you have some experiences or perhaps some knowledge about it. Thank you. Also, Ranko, if he wants to comment.
Thank you for the question. Maybe I can start, or Ranko wants to start. I'm okay with both options. Okay, I will start. Ranko, please disagree with me. So this is really interesting question, because to the best of my knowledge, in social enterprises, especially in social enterprises, in the ecosystems where the whole concept and the legislation and policy framework and so on is underdeveloped or not developed or late with implementation, doesn't matter. the most critical point is that third element of describing social enterprise, which would be governance model. So the whole process is a tricky one, and I think that our ecosystem needs to mature more so we can have a proper discussion on this issue. Where it goes and where we can start discussing it is among that part of the ecosystem which are work integration social enterprises, where there are actually some steps. In others, we can all learn by doing and share our best examples. How do we actually manage it? How do we also with cooperatives? I'm sorry, with cooperatives, both with as work integration social enterprises. In others, we are trying to all to learn how we can adapt our management from mindset of the top management to all employees. It is a really tricky question for me, and I don't think we actually made some important progress. I think that some of the enterprises that I work with recognized this as either an issue or recognize the person who needs to develop it better. So that's the progress I have to share. And I don't think it's much, but it's a step. Yeah.
I can also maybe just shortly comment this question. I think it's a very good question and very difficult one. I agree with you about that. Actually, the problem of democracy is in general very intriguing problem. What I was thinking about democracy 10 years ago and what I think now is completely different. Although I was thinking that democracy is very important and I still think it's very important. But what I think now is that awareness of people is the most important. So actually, even if you introduce democracy at any level of society and even in economic organizations like business organizations, it all depends on people. Democracy, what does it mean, democracy? You know, majority votes and then have some kind of, what kind of democracy we really think is democracy is. So actually, you know, democracy as such is very intriguing and maybe even sometimes problematic term. But what I realized that sometimes in a business organization, if you have a leader or a group of leaders that understand participation, understand need for inclusion of people, not just in decision making, but also in sharing the wealth. And you know, this is maybe one part of the very tricky part of the economic democracy. Democracy is how you share the wealth, how you measure the impact of the people in creating the wealth, how you actually create really equitable model of sharing the wealth, because you know, just making rights for decision is okay, but actually a lot of other things are involved in this. It's sometimes depending on awareness and on capacity of the leaders to have this kind of fair approach, care for people, understanding the needs of people, hearing the people, knowing how to communicate with people. So it's very demanding, and actually all our education is teaching us different ways. We don't know how to communicate, we don't know how to make decisions, informed decisions. So we are all experimenting. I must say that I'm also a social entrepreneur, but actually I'm doing this in two ways. I have one impact-driven enterprise, which is not good or maybe should not be according to criteria deemed as a social enterprise, but I'm trying to manage it in a way that actually it creates impacts for all employees and for the community. But also there are some other enterprises who are completely democratized in decision making. And sometimes when I compare these models, I really can't say what is the better model. There are specific situations where actually it's much better if you have really a competent leader who has kind of skills to involve people. In some points, it's better to have situations where you can involve people in decision makings, but that's really kind of slowing the process, especially in today's business. We need to be agile, we need to take responsibility for decisions. Sometimes it's not easy to actually explain all the details for all people in the organizations in the same way. So actually it's not easy to even inform the people, to make them informed about decisions. So actually it's very difficult. I would say that we need to innovate economic democracy in many ways, and decision making is one of them. There are some models that are like sociocracy and other models that are applied in different organizations. We are all learning and experimenting. I think at the end, what I would like to finish this, my point of view, you can have very democratic society when few people are actually at the end being marginalized or even used by the majority, or you can have a democracy where majority is manipulated by the small elites and then turn to vote for some. And we can see that in our everyday life, in our societies. You can see corruption at all levels. So you can corrupt democracy very easily. So it's not about if we have majority voting for something. It's about how we create culture of decision making, that nobody is left behind, that we care for each other, that we try to understand even the smallest or weakest part of the equation, and then try to find a way how to optimize decisions to make them really have the most benefit for all. It's not easy, but it's possible, and I can say that it's really challenging, but very gratifying. I always feel very, very, very happy that we can find some decision that can go in that direction. But as I said, it's all it's learning process, and we are all experimenting with this. That's my experience.
Thank you, Ranko and Jelena. Next questions, comments, discussions on this topic, maybe specific. Very interesting question raised by Yasmina. In meantime, I have basically one maybe provocative question for Jelena. Can you explain what is really difference between services and activities which Center for Social Innovations provides for its users in comparison with some kind of let's say for-profit startup incubator? Is there any qualitative difference in services and approaches other than who are users, basically, who is target group, but in content, what you give them, is there any difference between the center and many different for-profit startup incubators?
Thank you, Dragan. Very good question. The first time I get something like this. Interesting. Yeah, I would say that there are a lot of differences. For example, what we need to do is, as I told you, the part of the problem is that leaders of the organization are not super enthusiastic young people coming to high-tech market possibilities to internationalize. No, it's completely different story. It is burnout, social service providers, most of them females, most of them working in rural areas, most of them struggling with really low level of digitalization in their organization, and among employees with high pressure from beneficiaries, lack of funding, and it goes for years. So it accumulates a lot of stress and challenge. And the point is that, but the main difference coming from all of this is that young people making new cool startup are enthusiastic and open and really, positive with the energy. But what's happening with the target group of the Center for Social Innovation, and I'm not saying that it goes for everyone, but it goes in progress. Yeah, but it goes for a lot of people, is that they're in completely different position. So they need, with the business modeling, they need a lot of empowerment for themselves. And they are often too much burdened with administrative challenges with refinancing requests, local regional authority that covers those beneficiaries and so on. It goes for the majority of their day, working day. So, and so what's also really different that we sometimes need not to work with that person, but we sometimes discover what we call social entrepreneur. Someone working in the organization, but having ideas and energy to bring a change. So it's like old way and maybe potential for new way from the inside of the organization. So we have a completely different type of beneficiaries, and also they have different completely different realities around them. So startups are very welcome. Social services are like, we don't really want to deal with them, you know. So we need startups are attracting talents. Social service providers are struggling with basic labor to provide continuity of services. So it's a lot of pressure, and it's not that bright, shiny day for them. And the another side of those differences is that with social service providers, and exactly in Center for Social Innovation, we are dedicated to creating systematic change. Because we see it really important for the sector of social services, and that's not something that goes that much. That's important for profit sectors, but for social services, the possibility to build capacities and to build strength in connected organization and stakeholders, so we can create and make that systematic change. That will be the most important long-term outcome and impact we can have on the sector. That's the main trick.
Thank you. I understand, but this was really what comes to my mind when I was listening to your presentation. So this is like very similar to standard topics and activities of startup incubators. We have a question from Sylvia. Sylvia, please go on.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. It was very interesting. I have a question regarding to the topic that you were mentioning before on democratization of social enterprises. Meaning, what are the main reasons that move social entrepreneurs to want democratize their own enterprise? Meaning, when you mentioned that they recognize the need for democratization of the management of their enterprise, what are the reasons behind this awareness? What are the main motivations for democratizing a social enterprise?
Hi, Sylvia. Thank you for the question. I see what I understand, and again, I'm inviting Ranko to maybe add something if I miss some of the points. What I understand is that here in Croatia we are in ecosystem that's not really developed. If we are speaking about social entrepreneurship, we had one policy paper that was actually active for 5 years and then expired, and we have nothing really to stick with now regarding national policies. So, nor the law, of course. So the point is that a lot of us working in this ecosystem are trying to change traditional economic models. So either we are going to do the impactization of traditional businesses by working with corporations, by working with different small and medium enterprises, by including impact in their reports, by making or helping them create CSR programs for another vulnerable groups or environmental goals or so on. So this is a bit of a shift that's happening everywhere in the world, I believe. So this is like what happens to traditional economy. We are educated as from 20 years, some 130, I don't know how many, we are educated before in a way that we don't know what does it mean to have a democratic management or governance model in social enterprise. We are not educated to know what is social enterprise. And can you imagine having different management models and operate within that kind of diversity? We are coming from that different kind of a political and institutional background and structure. We all only had public enterprises and so on. So this is like, we only had cooperatives as in one example, but in one moment it was just didn't go into more development, but was really decreasing in numbers, in quality, in supporting it. So my point is, what as I see it, is that just with the strategy that was active for 5 years here, and with all the knowledge that now we are exchanging and getting from different European countries, from more European developed ecosystems, we now learn what needs to be done or what we have to do to have a proper, developed, good social enterprise at the end. So this is like how the informations are going in slowly for this moment, and we have a change a little bit, but still, as I told you, governance model is the trickiest one. Now when we are are in economic crisis and suffering from a lot of different challenges in economy overall, and can you imagine social economy, which, it was more resilient during COVID pandemic, but it is really suffering with the conditions now. And the support here is late or lacking, or both at the same time. So I don't see much happening at the moment. I just know that specific types of enterprises have kind of structure like that set up, and they're trying to implement the policies that's coming from the level of European Union, as Croatia is one very young member state. So directives are coming, good practices are coming, and it starts to be incorporated. But now it's not really a shiny moment, but things are starting to be incorporated, and we are all learning, just learning how should we support the social enterprises and how we should have like a proper ecosystem and all levels of support in the ecosystem. I believe that's really, we start, we learn, we do sometimes, we as support organization, because we are in networks and we are traveling everywhere and we are visiting everyone in Europe. So we get to know some information faster, and somehow we bring something home. But it's not institutionalized, really. And for full implementation, or for implementation of this aspect, I think we need to have it institutionalized.
Thank you. Next question. Okay, I have one more question. It's more related to our project and what we are doing, and like to hear from you, Jelena, and from other people who are basically practitioners in the field of social innovation. How do you see, let's say, a role of academia in general? So universities, scientific research institutes in this field, or I would say, do you see any potential for collaboration in future, and what we could bring in this ecosystem? This is first question. And second, related to this, is basically, as practitioner, okay, you are an MBA, but what do you think that our new future study program should give to future practitioners as skills and knowledge which is missing now in sector for improvement of social innovations in general?
I think that the role of academia is crucial. What my example demonstrates that, because I wouldn't have I wouldn't be speaking of Center for Social Innovation in Croatia nowadays, if I wasn't supported by academia, specifically with by University of Heidelberg, they have their really good Center for Social Invest. On behalf of our group, we took a lot of our experience in support program development, so from practitioner side, but they equally invested a lot of information from their side, from their researches, from their methodologies, from their toolboxes, from their work with students, testing, and so on. So we co-created the program. So I think it is about the cooperation, and I think that's the crucial for the development, and yeah, that's my point of view.
And what about skills and knowledge which our program should provide for future social innovators?
I just finished with a course called the Human Factor of Innovation. And what I loved about that course is that you don't have something that you need to be or have I don't know how many skills before. So this is the course that leads you through whatever exists nowadays about innovation, and showcasing the examples. It's really practical. You don't have a lot of, content from the books. I think that I didn't have even one book. It was a lot of articles and a lot of studies, a lot of TED Talks. It's really new. So it is basically a skill to understand what you really want to do. So to understand, to create, to articulate the problem, then it's followed by the skill to understand what do you need to make it happen, to understand what is closed innovation, what is open innovation, what do you really need to have in your own process. It helps you because you need to write down everything that goes into your mind. So you need to write down a lot. So you basically create your own process for you. So it is really I don't know how to name the skill, but I think the skill called like innovating process. I don't know, to learn how to open that process and to understand all the elements that can come, because we learned a lot, for example, what's preventing us. What's preventing not only us to innovate, but the change to happen in that environment where we want to make change. So yeah, it is really, I would say, practical and not that much academic and related to the content. So and I liked it, and I'm really happy to talk about that, Dragan. If you have motivation or time, we can continue the conversation about this.
Thank you. I think Ranko also would like to give a contribution.
Yes, thanks, Dragan. I just wanted to maybe add something to this, what Jelena said. First, I think what is missing in the social innovation sector is a structured and well-defined knowledge base about social innovation. What I think is necessary, because there are a lot of best practices. We as social innovators are very often actually forced to learn on our own mistakes, actually to discover principles through experimentations. Experimentations is good, but it's very time-consuming, very resource-consuming, and sometimes even can lead to disasters. So actually, I think researchers could really help social innovators by consolidating the base of knowledge around the whole topic, but focus on what Jelena said about it is also about capacities or skills which are necessary. And I think this part is, I completely agree with you. We should focus, you should focus maybe a lot of your efforts in actually defining the crucial skills for social innovation. Of course, these social skills is something that could be taught. Skills can be taught. It's very important to emphasize that that many of the skills like stakeholder engagement, which I think is very important for social innovation, stakeholder participation, stakeholder engagement is a methodology which is very well developed. But I still think, because we were pushed to work on that and discover ourselves, and some scientific work and some project that we discovered that helped us a lot, because otherwise we should really do that on our own. I think you as a scientist, as researchers, could really have a lot of contribution, create a lot of contribution in this sense. But also when we talk about social innovation, I think what is very important is actually what I mentioned earlier. Social innovation is about attitude. Social innovation is about mindset. It is not skills. Skill is coming after you have a right attitude, after you create a proper soil for seeding the knowledge and information. You have to have proper attitude. This is very difficult to change the mindset of people, but it's possible, and especially it's possible to do with young people. I think that's something that academia can really bring forward to support, especially when you are doing, when you're supporting, for instance, innovation in teachers training. I think teachers really have a huge impact on society. And if we, for instance, as scientists, or you as a scientist, really focus one large part of your work on actually how to create knowledge transfer methodologies that can really improve the capacities of the teachers to improve the readiness for social innovation among their students, they actually first should be also trained to be social innovators and to innovate their own teaching methods and contents. So actually, I think one part of this is also about creating ecosystems of change for education. And education is one very important ecosystem. And I would really would like to see education being one of the leaders of social innovation change or social innovation initiatives like you are already with this project. So I really would like to see how you can actually try to start with your own house. We all need to actually innovate, and I think high school is very, very fertile ground for social innovation, and you can be the leaders in this part of the change, and maybe this can show the way to many other stakeholders who can follow your example and your experiments or your efforts in this direction.
Thank you. Now you are pushing a lot of responsibility to our side.
But I'm ready to help.
Okay.
I think that everyone is responsible, but actually you can really have a very huge impact. But you asked the question, and I had to say this. It's really, I think, not a bad thing.
I agree. I'm just joking. Okay, do we have more questions or comments for Jelena and Ranko, or just thoughts, if you want to share your thoughts about the topics raised during discussion? Okay, if not, then we can finish. Jelena, do you have a final thought?
I would just wanted to say thank you for this conversation, and I hope that we will meet each other and all of us, and in all different kinds of formats soon, because as Ranko said, there is a lot that can be done, and we all have our roles and responsibilities in this. So I hope to continue working with, to start working with some of you.
Thank you. I hope, that we will continue our cooperation and work in this group in general. As I said, one of our activities is this establishment of transnational innovative network on social innovation. So we will contact different organizations, all of you, to join this network in order to establish really forum for development and knowledge sharing, experience sharing, etc. So if there is no more questions or comments, then I will close this webinar. Thank you, Jelena and Ranko, first for your contribution. Thank all who asked questions and commented, and everyone who took participation today. I wish you a nice evening, and thank you for today. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.